What's up, Misfit Nation? Welcome to another episode of the Misfit Wrestling Podcast. I am your host, Matt the Misfit. Tonight, we're going to go over AEW Dynamite, November 30th, 2022, the final Dynamite of November 2022. We got a very interesting, segment with William Regal. Maybe he's going away, maybe he's not, who knows? We also seen the return of Hangman and Page. The third match, in the AEW Trios 7 Best of 7 series, I believe it is, between the Elite and Death Triangle. We also saw Bryan Danielson take on Dax Harwood and a few other matches that were interesting enough. I want to apologize for not getting a Raw review up this Monday night. Wasn't feeling it too much. I enjoyed the show. It's just I wasn't feeling it too much when it comes to wanting to record stuff. But if you like what you see here, hit the subscribe button, comment down below, hit the like button, do the social medias, Misfit Wrestle TV on Twitter, Misfit Wrestling Pod on Instagram, and Misfit Wrestling Podcast on Facebook, also right here on the YouTubes, youtube.com/@Misfit Wrestling Podcast, and all of that good stuff. Dynamite tonight, like I said, it was all right, enjoyable show. It was not their best show. I enjoyed the show last week. Last week's show was incredible. Again, I did get to do a review. I think I did a review last week. I'm not sure. If I did, it's probably on the channel somewhere. Go look that up. But we got some match announcements for a final battle. We also got some matches announced for Rampage, which I can go through when we get to Rampage. But we're going to start off with Jon Moxley. Jon Moxley comes out after the last week, where Moxley comes in and talks about he says there's three constants in this world: death, taxes, and Jon Moxley claims there's nobody that can outwork him, hustle, bleed, and sweat like him. He says nothing has changed since day one, that he's been at the top of the food chain here in AEW, being the top guy. He does what he wants, as the ring belongs to him. He bets there isn't a man in the locker room or in this building anywhere near that, it has the balls to tell him any different. Out comes Hangman Page. This is the first time Hangman Page has been seen since the concussion 6 weeks ago. I believe it was 6 weeks ago in the championship match between Moxley and Hangman Page. So he gets in Moxley's face. Moxley says, "What are you going to do?" If it asks if you want to do this, or do you even remember what happened last time? Cowboy Hangman Page starts beating up Moxley. They start brawling. They had this brawl going back and forth, and it was a great thing to open the show. So it looks like that's going to be a feud outside the championship. This is going to be Moxley's first championship non-title feud since before Punk got injured. So this is pretty interesting. So I'm excited to see where this goes. I'm assuming this is going to be a non-title match at a pay-per-view in March for Revolution, maybe. We'll get to Revolution in a little bit. Also, and when they come back to commercial, they are still brawling in the back. They both are told to leave the building, and that's how that whole segment ends. Next up, we got Bryan Danielson defeating Dax Harwood in a really, 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 really fun match. I was excited to see this match when it was announced. And then this is Awesome Champ breaks out before the match even starts. Both men look for submissions early on, but aren't able to lock them in. Danielson connects with a stiff kick to the face, break it up. Dax then comes back with a couple of huge chops to Danielson. Harwood, Dax then managed to connect with a kick of his own, but Danielson sends him outside the ring immediately, hits a tope suicida, then which sends Dax spilling into the first row. Dax gets hit into the first row as they continue their slugfest on the outside. Dax then is with the fans. He decides to suplex Danielson over the guardrail onto the floor next to the fans. Danielson manages to beat the 10 count, but he immediately eats more chops and uppercuts into the corner. Danielson responds with a few of his own. Dax then immediately regains control with trio German suplexes a la you know who. The two then go back and forth, reversing and avoiding offense from one another. Dax Harwood nails a pile driver, which gets him a near fall on Danielson. Dax opts to go for a high risk maneuver. He misses the diving headbutt. Interesting that he went for the triple German suplexes and then doing a diving headbutt afterwards. An interesting choice there. Danielson almost catches him after out with a pinning attempt. And Danielson almost catches him with a pinning attempt. Dax then tries to slide and knock Danielson off the apron. So, but he avoids it, responding with a knee to the face as Danielson begins firing off some chops to Dax Harwood. As they get back into the ring, Harwood catches or cuts Danielson off. His attempt to move to the top turnbuckle. Danielson slides underneath him and pushes him into the top turnbuckle. Danielson gets behind Dax onto the top turnbuckle, does a dives his hammer, and he basically does some elbow strikes onto Dax on the top rope. Danielson looks for a suplex on Harwood, but reverses it into a mid-air crossbody, excuse me. They then start battling each other with lariats. They look to both hit lariats, but it immediately, fade, and they doesn't go to plan there. At one point in the match, Dax went for a slingshot powerbomb, which is he's starting to use a little bit more of. Gets reversed into a Hurricane Rana, into a kick into the head, forcing Dax to kick out of a pinfall attempt. Harwood then aims for a German suplex again. Danielson reverses it, lands on his feet, hits a slingshot powerbomb, which is followed up by a sharpshooter until Danielson was able to grab the ropes for the rope break. Danielson then eventually hits the locks in the label lock for Dax to hit or tap out for the win. Danielson wins. Great match to start off Dynamite. And like I said, Danielson seems to be on a road path to MJF. I will get to that when we get to the MJF segment here. Danielson and wants the handshake Dax, but Dax teases to leave the ring just to hug him back and show the respect there. Tony Schiavone's backstage with Ricky Starks, who's entering the Dynamite Diamond Ring Battle Royal next week. It's a long day. He says that he will win the Battle Royal because he's coming for everything MJF has, the ring and the championship. He wants his spot. He's also building up to their match at Winter is Coming in 2 weeks. Adam Page is shown backstage. They're doing the whole thing with the parking lot brawl with Moxley, and they are both told to leave the building. Renee Paquette is with the Jericho Appreciation Society and Blackpool Combat Club members. Matt Menard tells him the beautiful thing about being a sports entertainer is that he can be anything, such as a yodeler. Claudio says he's basically said he's had enough of this. He's going to beat Jericho at Final Battle. They challenge each other to a match next week, tag match, which is Wheeler Yuta and Claudio versus Jake Hager and Daniel Garcia. We also find out that Wheeler Yuta challenges Daniel Garcia for the Pure Championship at Final Battle, which was accepted. So we got that match announced for Final Battle. So we have 2 matches announced currently for Final Battle. We have the Ring of Honor Championship, Jericho and Claudio, and then we have the Pure title, Garcia and Wheeler Yuta. Samoa Joe defeats AR Fox to retain the TNT Championship. At one point, Joe hits a big kick, then a sidewalk slam. AR Fox starts to fight back. Big place on the top turnbuckle. He catches Joe with a DDT, follows it up with several kicks, then a short cutter. Fox connects with a 450 splash, but it's not enough to get the win. Joe hits the Muscle Buster to retain. After the match, fun little showcase for AR Fox, who just signed with the company earlier today. After the match, Joe says it's his new era, new glorious era, as he is the one true king of television. Wardlow appears on the screen and tells Joe's new nickname, as he's coming what's for him, which is the TNT title, and it says this is Wardlow's world. Now, Joe currently doesn't have a match for Final Battle. I'm assuming, based on how this is going, it's going to be Wardlow and Samoa Joe at Final Battle in 2 weeks. I think it's next weekend, actually. So, yeah. MJF returns after a 1-week hiatus with the AEW Championship. William Regal makes his way to the ring, introduces MJF. MJF basically runs on the crowd, does his usual shtick, tells Regal about the email that was sent. Instead of using the Dynamite diamond ring, he tells MJF to use the brass knuckles, which he did. Talks about how shitty the current AEW Championship looks, throws it on the floor, introduces the same AEW Championship with a different strap. They went Universal title reveal route. MJF also says that he deserves to be champion more than fake tough guys like Eddie Kingston, guys like Ricky Starks, and fake wrestlers like Bryan Danielson. So this is some good. So he uses key people in here. There's 2 people. I'll get to that in a second. MJF says Daniel couldn't wrestle his way out of a paper bag. Tells Regal that he means no offense. MJF sends a message to the roster saying they'll never know what it is to be like at the top. He will be the champion until the bidding war for 2024, where he will use the title as a bargaining chip. MJF then tells Regal that come January 2024, he doesn't know if a wrestling company will win, as he is sick of looking for wrestling fans, and maybe Hollywood wins. He tells that he's going to only defend the title on pay-per-view. Basically, that's what he thinks is going to happen. That his title reign is going to be more memorable than Bruno Sammartino, JBL, Hulk Hogan, and what was the other? He said somebody else. I forgot who it was. So he puts over Regal for everything he's done, and everything that the crowd cheers for that. And then out of nowhere, bam! MJF knocks the shit out of William Regal in the back of the head with the brass knucks, which crowd goes fucking ballistic, and like mega heat on MJF happens there. He says, MJF then goes, Regal made a deal with the devil, and he leaves him with the same words that he left him 7 years ago. The game has changed. MJF only hires top-class athletes, and when he's one of them, talking about Regal, he can send him his stuff. Oh, MJF leaves. Out comes Bryan Danielson to check on Regal. Doctors, they go to commercial break. They come back to the commercial break. He's stretched out into an ambulance. Danielson goes with him. This segment outside the title reveal, which I joked about on Twitter because it was just funny. It was too good not to make fun of it based on the Universal title stuff. Reveal back in SummerSlam 2016. That ugly fucking airhead looking title. Other than that, the rest of the segment was fucking incredible. I loved this segment as a whole. It was incredible. MJF is great at what he does. William Regal is fantastic at what he does. Now, the rumor going around, there's two different rumors going around by the same person who started this rumor. I've heard the two rumors I've heard that William Regal only signed 1 year for AEW, and then I've also heard that he signed a 3-year deal. It was both rumors was started by the same person. Now, even if he doesn't have a two or 1 year contract or a 3-year contract, I think Tony Khan respects William Regal enough, as much as like everyone else does, that if Regal wanted out early of his contract, Tony Khan would probably let him go. Now, I don't know if that's the case, if he's leaving or not, but the way they did this did sure as hell seem like a send-off for William Regal. And if he is leaving AEW, he's 110% going back to WWE and Triple H. And you know what? I would put him as the authority figure for the main roster, because he's better at it than Adam Pearce is. But my point is, I think William Regal, who should have never been fired to begin with, is probably going to go back to WWE once his time in AEW is done. Now, what's next with Bryan Danielson? Well, so you have a few options here. So they name dropped 3 different people in this entire segment. One of them is getting a title match at Winter is Coming. That is Ricky Starks. The other 2 is Eddie Kingston and Bryan Danielson. I would not do so the person I would actually absolutely have take the title off of MJF is Bryan Danielson. It's not going to happen because I think that they're not going to have this title match until it's going to be like a year before they take the title off of MJF. The world title match at Revolution is probably going to be MJF versus Bryan Danielson. The other guy who's probably going to be the one to take who Tony Khan, I think, will have the one to be the one to take the title off of MJF, is Eddie Kingston. You're not going to name drop Eddie Kingston just to not do anything with it. And plus, it works in for the story. Eddie Kingston, best friend of Jon Moxley. Moxley loses to MJF after his mentor screws him over out of the title. You can do that, and it just sets up Eddie Kingston can come in as the best friend of Jon Moxley and avenge his loss to MJF. And whenever they decide to do the pay-per-view, whether it's Double or Nothing or they're not gonna have a storyline match at Forbidden Door or at All Out. You know what? I would actually have MJF drop the title at All Out. I would have him drop the title at All Out to Eddie Kingston. If you're gonna do that, because here's the thing. Like, I don't know what they're gonna do for Double or Nothing. That's confused. That is a little months off. But we're not that far off from March, and we're gonna have obviously Bryan and MJF, so that's fine. Double or Nothing, I don't know what they're gonna do. They may run back Moxley and MJF, which is fine. Moxley can get another win under our MJF can get another win under Moxley. That's fine. Forbidden Door, he's probably gonna face a New Japan talent. I don't know who it would be. I personally, to put him to the test, put him against. Well, no, actually, no. At that point, I think Kenny Omega's going to want it. They're probably going to do Omega and then Okada at that show. So forget that part. I would put him in the ring with Tetsuya Naito. That's who I would like. Before MJF did the whole thing with the whole walkout, not the walkout, the no showing of the fan signing stuff, and kind of just disappeared after Double or Nothing. It seemed like he was going to be on the Forbidden Door show, and I think the match I still would do for MJF and at Forbidden Door is Tetsuya Naito. I just think that makes a lot of sense. Bring Naito in, facing MJF. That's what I would do, and then all out you have MJF drop the title to not Tetsuya Naito, to Eddie Kingston. So there you go. That's what you do there. But like I said, this was a great segment. I enjoyed the hell out of this segment. But I'm excited to see where all this goes here from here on out. Next up, we had Ricky Starks squashed Ariya Daivari. Before that, Stokely Hathaway and Ethan Page come out, but Matt Hardy instantly pops out and starts chanting the delete. Hathaway tells him to get back because they're trying to promote Ethan Page. Reminds him that he owns his ass and will help him win the Battle Royal next week. He's talking about Matt Hardy helping Ethan Page. Probably not. Ethan Page is probably going to get eliminated by Matt Hardy. The more I thought about it, like, that's probably what's going to happen. Bell rings. Daivari tries to attack. Starks in the corner. Didn't last long. Spear. Rushambo. Quick win. See you later. Bye. Ricky Starks wins. Then we get a backstage promo with Britt Baker, the AEW Women's World Champion, Jamie Hayter, Britt Baker, and Ruppels just stands there with Tony Schiavone. They're talking about the Sarayas and sit down interview, which is happening on Rampage. Says that Jamie Hayter says, why don't you do a sit down interview with me next week? So it's going to happen. So we're going to have a sit down interview next week with the AEW Women's Champion, Jamie Hayter. Next up, William Nightingale defeated Anna Jay with Ty Mello. It was fine. Anna Jay is not that good in the ring. Look, say what you like. Is she attractive? Yes. But is she a great wrestler? Not very much, no. Willow Nightingale's great. I like what she does in the ring. I just can't get into her character. Her character reminds me way too much of early Emma, and I just don't like it. And for whatever reason, I don't know why. Willow Nightingale hits the power bomb for the win, or the Dr. Bomb as she calls it, for the win. After the match, Ruby Soho's music hits. She's coming back from the nose injury she had that was suffered at the hand of Ty Mello and Sammy Guevara. Ruby Soho just beats the shit out of Ty Conti and hits the Destination Unknown on the ramp, and they just leave. So we're continuing that for some fucking reason. Who the hell cares about, and here's something I don't care about. Well, I'll get to this in a second. This was actually pretty funny here. Orange Cassidy, QT Marshall, complains about keeps getting interrupted because last week he was about to challenge Orange Cassidy for the All Atlantic title when the House of Black appeared and just beat the ever living piss out of the best friends and the factory, which was beautiful stuff to see. This leads, so QT Marshall tries to ask for a championship match, and and Orange Cassidy is like, yeah, okay, whatever. Next week, cool. And they walk off. He walks off, and he's like, what the hell? So we're getting QT Marshall challenging Orange Cassidy for the All Atlantic Championship next week, or this week on Dynamite, or not Dynamite, Rampage rather. Next, something I didn't give a shit about. Jay Cargill, TBS Championship celebration for some reason. This was on the show. None of this made sense. If I'm being completely honest. You could have spun this. You could had the shit with Bow Wow and shit like that. Who cares? Who really cares? I tweeted this out earlier. You could have had this spot go to like a Hikaru Shida or a Tony Storm or a Serena Deeb or who else did I put in there? This spot could have went to this spot right here could have went to a Athena, Hikaru Shida, Tony Storm, or Serena Deeb, and he chose to waste the Bow Wow bullshit. Why? 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 You instead of using the talent you got on your roster, you're using to promote a fucking celebrity program. I thought you weren't the WWE. I thought you were going to be new and improved. Apparently not. Unless Bow Wow is going to wrestle in your program, don't put this shit on my television. Moving on. This was actually hilarious. I enjoyed this right here. The Acclaimed were backstage with Billy Gunn. Asked them questions like they're in the army, which is something similar to the segment that DX had when they were about to invade WCW Nitro, which was hilarious. He wants to know why they don't have a match on Dynamite, but they'll give a title shot to the second best tag team on Rampage. Don't know who that's going to be. So that's happening on Rampage. Main event. Elite Death Triangle. Third match, the best of 7 series. Like I said, so the winner, the team with the most wins in this whole thing is going to be crowned the AEW Trios Tag Team Champions. Again, this was different from last week. The no CM Punk chance, no Pokefon at Punk. They did it because it was in Chicago. I think to me, this kind of shut down what I thought last week, which was maybe Punk is coming back after now that I've seen what they did tonight and compare it to last week. Don't think that's the case anymore. This match was not their best. If I'm being honest, this wasn't my favorite match of theirs that they had. It was all right, but it wasn't like mind blowing like last week or the pay per view match. But their pay per view match was spectacular. But tonight I didn't really care about it that much. Because there's a good chance we're going to see fucking 5 more of these matches. Probably. Hope to God not. I really don't want to see any more matches after this. Because I think you can set up the trios winners, which I'm hoping is the Elite, and then set up program for Forbidden Door at Revolution being the House of Black, which should be the program going into Revolution. At one point, Phoenix again tries to use the ring bell, or not the ring bell, the ring hammer, the hammer that uses the bell hammer, which is to use the ring the bell. Phoenix sees this, he grabs it. He's like, they're arguing. They get taken out, both of them. One point, they're being Omega's being held back. Omega looks in incredible shape, by the way. probably the best shape he's been in his entire career. That whole year layoff, and then that second layoff of the whole, because he was only back for a few weeks, and that second layoff of him, probably helped a little bit. One point, Pac was good to go for the Black Arrow. He hits the Black Arrow, but Nick Jackson gets his feet up, or his knees up, actually. Reverses the Black Arrow with the knees into the face. He reverses into a pin. Omega blocks Penta, so then the Elite end up getting the win. So now it's 2-1 in the score for the Best of 7 series. We're gonna have another match in 2 weeks at Winter is Coming. If the Elite lose there, the Death Triangle win the series. If they win here, if the Elite win, it's going to go to match 5. If I believe that's how it's going to, I believe it's going to go to match 5. So there is that, and they'll be tied. And they'll also be tied. So there's that, and then the final match would determine. I'm assuming it will determine the championship victory, whatever. But yeah, this match was all right. Not their best match. I enjoyed their match more at Full Gear than I did here. I did enjoy the match last week, but that was basically for the antics with Punk, the whole Chicago crowd Punk here. Omega gets on the crowd and says, "It's not ever going to be a clean sweep." He does his little outro thing. They did it in the Bullet Club, and that's how the show went off the air. That was Dynamite. It was an alright episode. Not like the first, I enjoyed the Regal MJF segment. That was my favorite thing on the show. Match wise, Dax Harwood, and Bryan Danielson, excellent match. Death Triangle and the Elite was fine. It was a fine main event, just not my favorite match of theirs. Like I said, I enjoyed the match more at Full Gear. Hangman Page coming back to feud with Moxley is perfect. I like it for holding Moxley over until we get to Revolution, or not Revolution. Actually, I would hold off if it was me. I would hold off Danielson for Double or Nothing, but they're going to do Danielson at Revolution. So the pay-per-view match at Revolution between Moxley and Page should be a number 1 contenders match to see who faces MJF at Double or Nothing. That's how I would book that match. Willow Nightingale's pretty good in the ring. I just, like I said, don't really care for her character that much. I don't really care for Etta Jay as a pro wrestler, but she's okay. I love Ruby Soho. Glad to see Ruby Soho back. Don't care about Jade Cargill and the fucking Bow Wow shit. Get that off my TV. If you're gonna waste time with the people who are watching this program and have to review it, put Hikaru Shida on the show. Put Toni Storm, your former women's champion. You're not even treating her like a former women's champion. Wasn't even on the show tonight. I love Jamie Hayter. Jamie Hayter is good. I can't wait to see what they could do with her next. I'm curious to see what her program Revolution is going to be. It's probably going to be Britt Baker. And if I'm booking this fucking thing correctly, Britt Baker should lose to Jamie Hayter. And everything else that comes with it. But yeah, that was Dynamite. I have been Matt the Misfit. This has been the Misfit Wrestling Podcast. I will see you back here for SmackDown. SmackDown is going to be very, very interesting. With the whole thing with the bloodline and what happened at the end of Raw, which they get to talk much about that in that segment with Jey Uso. The bloodline Kevin Owens was beautiful. Plants and sets the seeds for WrestleMania, the match between Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn versus the Usos. Sami Zayn did not stop Kevin Owens from winning the match last night on Raw. That was pretty cool. Candice LeRae came back, so she's doing some cool stuff. She had a really fucking great match with Dakota Kai, which was my match of the night that night, which was beautiful stuff. Jey Uso and Kevin Owens had a fantastic match, fun fucking match. Seth Rollins being the master babyface here with Austin Theory. I'm still holding out hope that they're going to do something big with Seth Rollins come WrestleMania. But I will talk more about SmackDown and WWE come Friday night. And then I will see you back here next week for the Monday Night Raw review. Will return next week. I also will have Dynamite next week as well. Final battle predictions coming in. Final battle review, depending. I may do that review. I don't know, depending how the show looks card wise. I think here's what I think the card for Final Battle is going to be. So what I think. So right now we only know of Jericho and Claudio and Garcia and Wheeler Yuta. I think the other match is going to be Joe and Wardlow. Mercedes. They've kind of already set this up last week. Mercedes Martinez will probably defend the women's title against Athena. FTR will probably defend the tag team titles against the Kingdom. Dalton Castle and the boys will defend the 6-man tag titles against somebody. So that's probably what's going to happen. But yeah, I've been Matt the Misfit. This has been the Misfit Wrestling Podcast. Until then, I will see you guys Friday. We're out.